Welcome to the Landis Look, where we take an inside look at the world of real estate. I'm Justin, and today we're going to take an inside look at investment opportunities that have come up over the past 6 weeks as the real estate market has been impacted by COVID-19. If you're like me, you love to buy property at a good price. I don't think anybody likes to get a good deal in real estate more than I like to get a good deal in real estate. And so lots of people know that and have asked me what opportunities are out there and how has the market changed and what does that mean for someone who wants to make an investment. And so some people are like, hey, I want to buy a foreclosure. I want to buy a bank-owned property. Can I get something at a 20 or 30% discount? Well, unfortunately, for folks looking to get those kind of discounts, that has not happened yet. And that's actually fortunate for the overall market and for the folks involved who might be selling those houses. We're not seeing any foreclosures because most mortgages have the ability to be deferred at this point if folks can't make the payment. So don't expect to see that anytime soon. All the foreclosures that we saw in 2009, 2010, really unlikely to see that. But that doesn't mean that there isn't opportunity. And I do think that there is some opportunity out there because here are a couple things that I've seen in the market. And neither of these are backed by stats. Usually if you watch these, you know that I have lots of stats. And this is just my observation from what I've seen over the past 4 to 6 weeks. One of those things is I feel like, and we won't see this until, probably another 4 to 6 weeks out. I feel like you can get the same property for less now than you could 4 to 6 weeks ago. And I don't mean way less. I mean like a couple percentage points less. I see things being listed that I'm like, I think that probably would have been listed 2-3% higher had this not happened. And I'm seeing those houses go under contract. So those houses going under contract right away when they're priced like that. There is, great demand for it. But I am seeing prices that are a little lower. I also am seeing more folks who really want to just get their house moved and have a greater sense of motivation. And this is not necessarily desperation motivation. It's just, hey, I really want this to end. I want to get this house sold. And thus are more motivated to take a little bit of a discount. And one of the things that you have to think about when you think about what kind of discounts could we possibly see in real estate is that it's not the case where folks are underwater. And so it's like, hey, we're going to do a short sale or the banks, needs to move the property. Almost everyone has equity in their house. Even if you bought your house only 1 year ago, the Atlanta market in most places was up 5 or 6%. So you have some equity in there. And then obviously folks who bought more than a year ago, a lot of them have a lot of equity. So if they're willing to move the property at even a couple percent discount to what the market was, say March 1st, they're still well up on it. But that can be opportunity for investors to buy stuff at a price that is lower than what I think we were seeing 2 months ago. And also there are some folks who really just want to move their property right now. And because there are not as many transactions happening, they may take a little bit of a discount in order to just go ahead, get the property moved at this point. And I think those can be opportunities for investors. On typical investment type properties, what have we seen over the last 4 to 6 weeks? So often when you say investment type properties, these are properties that need renovated, need a good amount of work because investors often will take those on and add value to the property. We've had a lot of multiple offers still on those type properties that we know are priced well and that people want. And so not seeing a humongous difference in that, especially at what I would call the more, normal median Atlanta prices. I do think that, there could be a great opportunity to pick up some properties for the long term here. There are some things to weigh in the rental market, such as if you're considering doing Airbnb. A lot of our friends and clients who are doing that, their properties are either empty or mostly empty. They're not renting at what they were, a couple months ago. And so, take that into account when you potentially purchase a property like that. But also the sellers are taking that into account as well because that's the new reality. Same thing with tenants. I mean, there's, right now, evictions have been put on hold and things are a little bit different with the tenant situation. And so I think just navigating the fact that there is volatility and uncertainty, there's always opportunity in that. And so I think these are mostly one-off opportunities versus like, hey, the whole market is depressed or there's flooded with short sales or foreclosures or something along those lines. One area where, the potentially this is probably higher risk, higher reward, but the area we've seen the biggest slowdown in the number of sales is in luxury houses. And, that could be for a handful of reasons. That could be completely temporary. And, once stay in place is lifted and things get back to a more normal environment, that could completely pick back up. I mean, we don't know what the future is going to be, but we do know over the last month that it's had a bigger difference in the number of transactions that were happening at luxury price points to the number of transactions that are happening now. And so those typically are higher risk, higher reward anyway. And so to pick up a property there where you may be targeting a higher price point, high risk, high reward. And because of the risk, that's what you could get the payoff for there. And so I know that a good amount of folks are cautious in that price point. And that may be prudent. It may be a reason that a lot of folks are cautious, but there also could be opportunity there if you feel really good about a specific property or a specific neighborhood. So what I would say to wrap up this investment is I think there's an opportunity to buy properties at a discount to both what the market was 2 months ago, and there's always an opportunity to buy properties at a discount relative to the current market. I mean, in any market, there's an opportunity to buy stuff at a discount because it's not a perfect market. There are sellers that have situations, there are houses that need certain things done to them that just not everyone is willing to take on, and a lot of times if you take those on, you can get a discount on it. So I do think there's an opportunity to get some stuff at a discount relative to both what the market was a month or two ago and a discount relative to the current market. And if you have a long-term horizon, and I absolutely love this horizon, I'll wrap up with this. And I try to do this. I want to be buying real estate all the time. And I don't mean like every day, but I mean like every year. You want to be buying in all the markets. It's essentially dollar cost averaging in real estate. And if you did that in the past, even if you did it through the last downturn, the property you bought in 2006 and 2007, those were not winners. Properties you bought in 2009, 10, and 11, those were home runs and more than made up for those properties you bought in 2006 and 7. And so we don't know where we are on the curve now, but if you can buy something at a discount relative to the current market, you're always getting that advantage. And if you have a long-term horizon where you're like, hey, I'm going to be buying in every market, then whether or not we come out of this and the market softens and declines because there's high unemployment, there's a recession, or whether, and I could see both of these happening, there's a bump because there's pent-up demand and the folks who wanted to move, they're going to move, and people still have life situations where their family's growing, where their job's changing, and people are still moving, and there's not a lot of supply on the market. I could see either of those happening. And so it's hard to predict the future, but what you can do is if you are consistently buying at a discount to the current market and you're doing that over time, you're going to come out nicely at the end. And you do obviously have to make sure that the cash flow works on those, that you can hold those properties to be able to sell them when the market is up. Because remember, in real estate, you only see the gain when you actually sell. So that property you bought in 2007 that was worth, 30% less in 2010, well, it's worth more now if you still have it. As long as you didn't sell it in 2010, it's worth more. So, the gain or loss is only realized when you sell. So if you have any specific investment questions, do what so many folks do. Drop us a private message, send us an email. We're happy to talk to your specific situation because everyone's situation and everyone's goals are different. But that's what I'm seeing in the investment market right now. And I do think there is an opportunity out there depending what you're looking for. Thanks for watching. We will see you next week.